Okay, so we're now on part 7 of what's on the shelf. So in the 7th cubby, we have Pem Pamplona, Mystic Vale, Stone Age, Quarriers, and Cash Flow. So Pamplona was a game that I got in a batch of games. I had bought a large lot and got a couple of games, and this one was one of them. The theme looked kind of interesting. So it's a game based on the running of the bull that they do in Spain. So each player has some bulls, and then each player seems to control some of the runners as well. So from what I understand, the bulls will kind of go through this path, and however many people they take down, I guess they'll kind of score for that. And I'm assuming the score also gets affected by if one of your person gets taken down by a bull or not. I have never played this one. It was in my collection when I've taken these pictures, but it's since actually been donated to the FallCon library, so I'll have to try it at the next FallCon. The next game we have on that shelf is Mystic Vale. Mystic Vale is such a great game. So it's a deck builder, but you don't actually grow your deck. You start with 20 cards and you're going to end with 20 cards. But each of those cards comes in its own little sleeves, and you can buy a new section to add to the cards. So all of the cards upgrades that you'd be purchasing are on these clear plastic card that you would add on to the sleeve. So if on my one card I have something along the top, then I could upgrade the middle portion and the bottom portion. You can also have your card where they kind of work along with each other. This is also a push your luck game, because as you reveal your deck, however many, I can't remember, like coins or whatever that is exposed, shows how much you can purchase by. But there'll be some negative icons that'll show up as well. And if you reveal a third one, you've bust and you don't actually get to do anything with your cards that round. Very, very neat, unique deck builder game, and I really like it. This is one that I'm kind of debating whether I should get expansions. I'm not huge on expansions in games, but this one's tempting me. Of course, I would say like it has great table presence, and it does, except that it's see-through, so you don't get to see tons and tons of it. But it's a really good game. Next one I have is Stone Age. So Stone Age is a worker placement game. This is one of the older games. I actually traded my copy of Forbidden Desert for this one. So with this game, worker placement, this is the first one where I saw, like, kind of in the Architect of the West Kingdom, you can send 1, 2, or 3 or more workers at each location. So this one is like that. So the more workers you send at the one location, the more dice you'll get to roll, and depending on where you are, what you would require for dice. So if you're going for gold, I think it's every 6 that you would get 1 gold. So if you have 3 people there and you roll a 6, a 5, and a 1, then the total is up to 12, so you would actually get 2 gold for having done that. If you're rolling for wood, maybe you only need, I can't remember if it's like 2 or 3, but you would need a lot lower, so your roll could manufacture more goods. And then with those resources, you can purchase buildings that would get added to your own player board. You can send a worker to the hut. You would send 2 to that hut, and then a third one comes out, so you can kind of grow your workforce that way. And then you kind of score points as you go. You manufacture food, acquire different things. It's a very neat one. I like this worker placement game. It's been very well received as well. That's what the board looks like here. I'll get a closer look on that one. So so the areas that you see that has like the small little circles, that's how many players can be sent at that particular location. So you can send multiple of your own, or different people can share that same space at the same time. Then you get those little tiles along the bottom there where you're going to be adding those to your village, I guess. And then you have the cards that requires different, you can purchase with a different amount of resources that you can do. And then those will give you some set collecting that you can score at the end of the game, if for artifact that you have. Or it can also supplies different benefits as well. And one thing that was neat is when you get some of those cards, some of them will kind of give you a benefit, but it can give the other players a benefit as well. And here's another picture of last time I played Stone Age. And then the next one I have on my shelf is Quarriors. So I played Quarriors the first time and I really like it. I'm a big fan of deck builders, and this one plays very similar, except that you're not buying cards to add to your deck. You're buying dice to add to your bag. Each dice, so there's lots of different custom dice on those one. Each dice will give you different things. So either it's a spell that allow you to affect the other dice, or maybe it's a dice that has creatures or monsters that you can battle with. But each dice has different things on it. So your creature dice that you've been buying will have maybe a couple of sides that were, yes, that would be something that you can battle with. A couple would give you kind of so much, but then maybe one's more powerful than the others. And then the rest of the dice could be that it has like the purchasing things on it. So not only are you buying dice to add to your thing, but depending on your role, what you can do with it. The way that this works is you would roll all of the dice. You utilize some of those dice that has like the purchasing ability to activate your creature dice, so you can add them to, I guess, your arena, we'll call it. And then at the end of the game, you automatically battle all the other players if they have any creatures in their arena. When it comes back to your turn, if you still have a creature in your arena, if it hasn't been destroyed by the other players, then you get to score for that creature, and then it gets kind of put aside. When you run out of dice in your bag, you collect all the dice that you've utilized, and they all go back into the bag. And then, of course, you can also purchase new dice as well. I'll show you a closer picture of the dice there. So they all look different. They all have different color, different, some are like kind of more see-through, some are it's a very neat one. I really enjoy that concept of it, and then that was kind of one that I hadn't really seen before. So I'm a big fan of Quarriors, and then that was on the shelf there. And then there's a lot more dice too than you play each time, so each game's going to change up a little bit because you select, I think it's like you select 5 creatures and 4 spells or something like that each game, right? And then you have like the base dice that are always showing. The next game I have on my shelf is called Cash Flow. The first one here, Cash Flow 101. So I used to work for a trading company that we trained people to become stocks and real estate investors. And we would use the cash flow game as a tool to kind of implement a little bit of what we were teaching. So in this game, I'll show you here, the first portion happens in the middle circle, and that's called the rat race, where each player gets assigned a different lifestyle. So maybe you're a mechanic, so you don't make as much money as some, but your expenses are fairly low. Or if you're a lawyer or a doctor, your income is quite a bit higher, but you got a lot of expenses. And student loans and different things like that. As well, you can get children as you play the game, and for some reason, some of the, if you're a doctor, your kids are going to cost you a lot more every month than the mechanics kids. Probably just they're not in private school or different things like that. So you go around the inner circle, and you'll land on the green cards, which is opportunity, and you select whether you want to do a small opportunity or possibly a bigger opportunity, and it could be real estate, business, or stocks that you would do in there. And then every time, if you land on the pink spaces, those are called doodads, and you're buying something. It's kind of like, oh, well, you bought a pool for the backyard, or you ended up doing this, and because those are, things that in real life we tend to do as well. You can every time you pass the payday thing, then you get to collect your payday. And depending on what you've been doing, what you've been purchasing, if you've been taking loan, you tally up all the time a spreadsheet, the balance sheet that kind of keeps track of how much income you're getting, how much expense, so what's your net income. So every time you pass the payday, you get to collect that net income that you can spend on more doodads and more opportunities and different things like that. If your income ever becomes greater than not just your income, if your passive income, so the income from your investment, ever becomes greater than your expenses, then you've acquired financial freedom, and you now go and play in the outer circle, where you get access to bigger, better things. If you've not shown how to play this game and you just kind of follow the rules based on the rule book and you try to play, this game will take a long time. It would be frustrating, and it kind of would feel maybe a little bit broken. So that's what, they say 180 minutes to play this game. It's never taken me that long, but I could see that if you don't know how to play the game, it would. But if you start implementing trading strategies, the best deal in this game is to become a private lender. So sell some stocks, get a lot of money, and then you can buy some opportunities as well, but then you can also lend out to the other players on their opportunity, because that still gives them access to actually the cheapest loan in the game. But then it gives you a good return on your investment. So as an investor, this was a very interesting game that kind of implemented and got you to kind of think the way that we were teaching our students to think. But yeah, so we used to have cash flow nights, at least once a month, for 5 years, I think. So I have played this game a lot and have shown people how to play this game a lot. It's one that I very much enjoy. I used to have 13 copies of this. I've donated actually a lot of those games to the high school for their Money Sense program, so that they can utilize it as a tool for their students. But yeah, so great game if you know how to play with other people. That's kind of develop those, but it's very neat. And that's actually it for that cubby. So if you want to follow me on Facebook, my Facebook page is Didsbury and Area is playing all the games, or on Instagram, Boardgame_Mama. Thanks guys, have a great day.